So, over the weekend, we got some bittersweet news out of the NFL, and that is the retirement of Tom Brady, the GOAT of the NFL, the GOAT being the greatest of all time. And it comes in an interesting manner because you got to feel bad for Tom a little bit because the media kind of leaked his retirement before he got to announce himself. And that's something I'm sure he wished he was able to do. But Brady's career is something exceptional that we haven't seen much like it across sports. And the way that he went out, we also haven't seen. Because Brady, when you're an athlete, what you never want to do is what typically happens in a career is you start off low when you're a rookie and you're developing. As you get better and better and better as you develop, and then you start to get older, you start to get a little worse, and then you hit the divot and you're declining and you're not that great anymore. We saw it with Peyton Manning. We saw it with Emmitt Smith. And people just kind of assumed we would see it with Tom Brady. The guy was 44 years old playing football. He can't do this forever. And so we expected eventually he was going to get a little worse. He was going to lose some arm strength, and he was going to go out the way most people did, not on top. Brady didn't necessarily have the same idea. Because the year Tom Brady retires, the year of our Lord 2022, he led the entire NFL, 32 starting quarterbacks. Brady was number one in passing yards per game, passing touchdowns, and passing attempts. He was graded as the greatest quarterback in the NFL this season by Pro Football Focus, and he's going to be the runner-up as the MVP. The last time we see Tom, he came all the way back from down 27-3 against the Rams to tie the game with less than a minute. Something Tom did better than anyone, the late game comebacks. So, how is this going to impact how we remember Tom Brady? Tom Brady is one of the few athletes across sports who could play this well for this long. And it's this aspect of longevity. It's this aspect of I'm never actually going to get worse that really separates him from the group. You know, Tom Brady threw more touchdowns in his 40s than he did in his 20s. Think about that for a second. Think of how absolutely crazy that is. This man was in his 40s playing better than he was in his athletic prime. Blows my mind how somebody could be that good for that long. He had 3 separate Hall of Fame careers, and I've seen people break it down. His first 7 years, he had more touchdowns than whoever it was. He won 3 Super Bowls. His next 7 years, he had more passing yards than Joe Montana or something. I couldn't tell you the exact numbers, but he has been so good for so long, and he has accomplished so much, and he has won more than anybody else, that he is in that conversation. It's a select group. Couldn't tell you how many, but it's a very small group of people that we start to debate as the greatest athlete of all time, just the greatest athlete in general, because Brady is transcending that mark of greatest football player, because nobody, I don't care how long it's going to be until we see somebody who accomplished this as much as Brady did, going to 10 Super Bowls, winning 7, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 regular season MVPs, while playing 22 seasons in the NFL and sustaining greatness for all 22 of them. So when it comes to just football, it's not even a conversation. There's not like the only answer I would tolerate is if you want to say Lawrence Taylor is the greatest football player of all time because of how he directly changed the game. But in terms of how much you accomplish and how good you are for how long, it's Brady by a billion. So let's compare Brady across sports, and this is extremely difficult to do. I like to do it. Why not? Because Brady's level of dominance in the NFL is matched by so few people in their own sports. So let's just go down the line. Who are the greatest athletes of all time? Oh, you've got your Michael Jordans, your LeBron Jameses, your Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, Serena Williams, Wayne Gretzky. The list goes on and on. So where does Brady stack up with those guys? Well, in my opinion, if there is a running debate between if there's a running debate about who is the greatest at your sport, Brady's ahead of you, because Brady is the unquestioned GOAT. If you ask 100 people who's the greatest quarterback of all time, you're going to get 100 Tom Bradys, in all honesty. Either that or they're a bit delusional. So Brady's by far the greatest of his own sport. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, highly contested debate. Who's the greatest basketball player of all time? Neither of them could be on Brady's level, because LeBron James, he had the longevity that Brady does. He doesn't have the winning. Jordan had the winning that Brady does not have the longevity. How about baseball? Well, if you ask 100 baseball fans who's the greatest baseball player of all time, you might just get 100 different responses. If you want to say Babe Ruth, you can say Babe Ruth, Mariano Rivera, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig. I'm sorry, Barry Bonds. You can get 100 different answers, and because of that, none of them can be on the just level of dominance for as long as Brady did. Nobody can be in that conversation. So, who is on Brady's level? Because the way I'm talking about it, I don't know if there's anyone who did what Brady did in that amount of time. Except I think there are 3 names. And if you ask me to give a Mount Rushmore of athletes, I think these are the clear 4. Well, I want to say clear 4. I want to add a 5th, but cutoff's 4. So number 1, Brady's on Mount Rushmore. Just how it is. He dominated football. It's one of the hardest sports to play, and he did it at one of the toughest positions that you could play, the quarterback position. Usain Bolt. He's the fastest man of all time. He has every running record. He dominated the gold medals. So Usain Bolt, Tom Brady. Michael Phelps. If you look, and this still blows my mind, if you rank every country's swimming gold medals of all time in the history of the Olympics, swimming gold medals down the line, the United States is 1. I believe Russia or China is 2. And Michael Phelps as an individual is 3. He has more gold medals. He has more swimming gold medals than every other country on the planet except for 2. So if you want to talk about dominance, hell yeah, you got that box checked off. And he competed in 3 or 4 Olympics? That's incredible. That's you're talking 16 to 20 years. So yeah, Michael Phelps, absolutely. Those are the 3 on Mount Rushmore. And the 4th spot was incredibly difficult to me because I was down to 2 people. And I honestly, I was thinking about changing my mind. It's either Wayne Gretzky, who won 8 MVPs or something in the NHL. 8 MVPs. Think about that for a second. Could you imagine if there was an NFL player who won 8 MVPs, NBA won 8? I mean, that's just unfathomable. So Wayne Gretzky is the 4th person on my Mount Rushmore. Brady, Gretzky, Bolt, and Phelps. I want to put Tiger Woods because he has the longevity, he has the winning and success, but I just can't put him quite on that group. Same way I can't put LeBron or Jordan because they have their own intersport debate. I can't put Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal because the 2 of them play the same sport and there's an ongoing debate. Same thing with Messi and Ronaldo. Serena Williams, she's a candidate. She doesn't necessarily have the longevity, or she might, but it's hard to compare if you're just going women's sport to men's sport just based on athleticism. And I don't know. It's a tough conversation to have, and it's tough to rank. But that's my Mount Rushmore of all-time athletes. I think those are some of the greatest winners in all the sports. I think those are the greatest leaders. Well, other than Phelps and Bolt, who played individually, but those are the greatest winners. Those are the guys that dominated their sport for as long as possible. And those are the guys who just are the best at what they do, no questions asked. And what else could you ask for from a GOAT, the greatest of all time? So Brady ranks number one. Phelps ranks number one. Bolt ranks number one. Gretzky ranks number one. If you want to say Woods ranks number one. And I'm starting to wonder, because Brady is clearly the GOAT. People are already trying to get Brady, to move down. They're already, Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to pass Tom Brady. Joe Burrow is the next Tom Brady. Brady hadn't even retired yet, and people were already looking for the next GOAT. So it's certainly going to come down to who the media thinks is the best, who has the best moments. As conditioning advances, as players get more athletic, as there's a new era down the line, that's going to be something that goes into it. So I don't want to say Brady's never going to be caught, because that would be utterly ridiculous. You never want to say no, like it's unwritten, it's defined impossible to pass Brady. It might happen sometime down the line, but I simply don't see it happening anytime soon. And if you look at someone who had the career like Brady did, it's hard for me to believe that there's someone in the league currently or soon to be in the league that has the capabilities of passing him. So I congratulate Tom Brady on a great career, the greatest career, and I hope he has success after sports. I hope he's happy with his decision with his wife and kids. So congratulations to Tom Brady. You had the greatest career we have ever seen.